Hey guys, it's Scott Payne from PMP Exam Success Secrets with Scott. In this episode, I'm going to tell you all about the PMP exam changes, what to expect, and most importantly, how you and I can benefit from the changes because there is a way we can get an even better score. I'm going to teach you how. So the real question is this: how do hardworking project hustlers like us, who aren't afraid to put in the work, who invest in ourselves and our careers, how do we prepare for the PMP in a way that makes us battle ready for the onslaught of situational questions we know we'll face so that we can walk into the exam with confidence and walk out with the project respect we deserve? Now, I've been in your shoes and I've done it. Join me as I guide you step by step to your PMP success using the most innovative study practices and the best tools on the market. My name is Scott Payne, and welcome to PMP Exam Success Secrets. All right, guys, I just got back from a couple days at PMI Global. It's the PMI Global Conference. Do it every year. It was in Philadelphia this year, so ate a bunch of cheesesteaks. I don't know if I want to tell if I like Geno's or Pat's more, but I do have a preference for one of them, just right off the bat to cover the important stuff. But I got back, and one of the big things that I talked about while I was there, I did a couple videos, was that the PMP exam is changing. Now, as a guy that creates content, writes books, prepares you to pass the PMP, this scared me a lot. So I walked into that conference with a goal. Let me find out what these changes are. Let me find out who controls them, who's going to guide us there, what their decision-making is going to be, everything that's related. And I found the lady who runs that, and she held this awesome session. She walked a ton of us out there. Everybody who's a who's who in the PMP world was sitting in that room with their pencil and paper taking notes. You would know them. We listened to her. She has a vision. I just tell you, she's got a vision, and it's a good one, and I'm really, really happy that it aligns a lot with what we're doing here. So this is awesome. So let me tell you about it, okay? So first of all, the exam officially changes on July 1st of 2020. So we got a little bit of time, not a big deal, but we ought to know about what's going to happen, right? So right now, I want to explode kind of one of the misnomers that's out there. It's that basically the PMBOK, that big old PMBOK, that intimidating thing, the thing that we run from, the fact that I wrote my book in response to that, trying to distill it down, that influences kind of people think the PMBOK, but in reality, or influences the PMP. The PMP exam and the actual questions are driven from a thing they call the content outline. Now, a lot of you, I'm going to venture a guess and say 90% of you guys don't even know what the content outline is. And in all honesty, you don't need to, because guys like me, myself, and others, we interpret the content outline, and we make sure that the questions that we write, the content that we create, the interpretations that we have align to this content outline. So in reality, the PMP exam is changing, yes, but the content outline is changing. And there's some fundamental changes in the outline that we need to know about. Because I said, don't go deep into the content outline. Let me handle that. I gotcha. But I want to explain to you what's happening. All right. So first of all, content outline frames out the structure by which questions are written against. What are the topics? What are the areas? And then, a certain amount of questions come from each. So normally, right now, it's organized by knowledge area. Integration, scope, schedule, whatever, down to quality, etc. And you might say, Scott, but you teach by process group. Oh my gosh, have you been misleading me? No. All the content is in there. It's just differently organized. All right. So the content outline lays it out. I teach it by process group because it makes sense to study by a process, and it's like a project, like normally. And if you think about it, what's the change that I'm going to tell you aligns a lot to the way in which we teach. All right. So what's going to happen? The content outline is going to change from knowledge area focus, like integration down, all the way down to procurement, etc., stakeholder. And it's going to group into 3 new domains. Okay. So these 3 new domains are called people, process, and business environment. All right. And so people is going to be 42% of the exam. 42%. Processes is 50%. And then the last 8 is business environment. All right. So what you need to know, first of all, is I got you. Don't worry. we're good, is that inside of each one of those, and I'm going to walk through each one of them in a second, that they are introducing a new way to look at it, okay? A new lens to look at it. Now, a lot of us who come from manufacturing or construction, we deal with predictive or waterfall projects all the time. That means heavy planning up front, a lot of like micromanagement in a sense, like of the individual task, like a lot of planning up front, right? Now, there's an entire world of agile and hybrid out there coming from IT, etc., that does things with an agile mindset, right? So what PMI is doing is looking out at the market, and they did a lot of research, a lot of study. They're going out and saying, predictive management exists, yes, but agile's a big thing and it's very effective and helpful, right? And there's this thing called hybrid where you go, I'm going to mix and match and use both of them together so that I can get a really, really efficient project out of, predictive, mixing a little agile in there, get a little hybrid juice going. It gets really good. So what they're doing is they're saying, hey, we got these 3 new domains: people, processes, business environment. Say it with me now. And then we're saying we're layering on top of each one of those all the different methodologies, okay? We're doing predictive, which is 50% of each one of those domains. Then we're going to agile, which is basically 23, let's call it 25. And then there's hybrid, which is the other 27. So if you think about it, what they're really saying is, at the end of the day, they're saying, hey, we're going to focus your attention on the people side of things, on the process side of things. That's what the domains is all about. So how we manage our team, how we manage our stakeholders, all those things, that's all that people is, okay? People's big around human. There used to be a human resources management knowledge area in PMBOK 5. So the people side is really working on stakeholder relationships, how you manage your team, what your leadership styles are, all those things, like how we govern our team, how we, embrace them, how we build them up, all those sides. Because think about it, that is so, so powerful and so integral to your success. It's not just inputs, outputs, tools, and techniques, okay? It is the people side. So PMBOK, or the PMI, is stepping into that, really embracing it, and that's a good thing, all right? The second thing is, okay, if we go people side, then we go process side, which is 50. That's the traditional things that we're used to. Processes, this goes into that. This is what we're doing, charter, stakeholder management, control quality, all these things that are normal processes that we think about. That is still the bulk, 50% of the exam, okay? Okay, so that last section, remember the last section? That was business environment. That's only 8%, but it's super, super important if we think about it. It's the compliance with industry and regulations and the government, all those things. And, how are we going to deliver value and measure value? Other things it talks about is project integration. That's a big one, right? With other projects, external, internal, and how we handle our change management. So when we break down all 3 of those domains, it makes total sense. We got the people side, we got the process side, and we got the business environment. So from you, like, that took a lot of weight off me. I wasn't scared anymore because they go, okay, this all makes sense. And then what they're doing is they're layering on top of that. If we think of a matrix, like, domains like this, and then the different methodologies over here from predictive down to agile and waterfall, they're saying in each one of them, we're going to ask questions from different perspectives. We're going to ask questions from an agile perspective or a hybrid perspective or a traditional waterfall perspective. So that's awesome. That's awesome. All right. Because if you think about the way in which I teach and we learn together, we learn by case story. Okay. So this gives me a really fertile ground. We're already doing this in a sense, right? We're just going to amp it up a little bit. No big deal. We already talk about these different scenarios. Well, what would John do? He's the hero of our case story. If you haven't checked it out, he is the man. He's the hero. So, we got to walk through it. What would John do in this scenario? What would he do if he was running an agile project? What if the people he was integrating with were running an agile project and he was working this project? So a lot of the things that we're doing right now, they dovetail really good with what's going to happen on July 1st of 2020 when the exam changes. Now, there is some more exciting news on what's happening with the PMP. So we know the domains are changing and they're going to ask you questions about the different ones. If you say out there, you go, Scott, I don't know anything about Agile. I don't know anything about hybrid. It's cool, man. They're not going to have you be an expert in those things. They're not going to demand that you go out and run those IT projects and do that and have that kind of knowledge. They're just going to say, do you have awareness of it? Are you appreciative of how it works? Do you know the high points? Do you know how it integrates? Do you know all those things? And that is not only going to help you be a better project manager, but it's really going to make you like a more sound thinker. All right. So to know how to think from different levels, how these different people think, you're going to be able to manage your world a lot better just by learning it. And I'm going to help you get there. Right. So I said that there was one other ginormous change. Now, right now, what are the questions like on the PMP exam? They're all multiple choice, A through D, right? They're situational mostly. They're difficult. They're hard. What's going to happen is they're going to test out some new types of questions. And this is awesome. Not only just like different ways in which to write them, but different structural ways to present the information in the question. So there's going to be the same old situational great questions, hard questions, situational questions, A through D answers, right? So we're going to have those. Then we're going to have some drag and drop things. Maybe it says like match the different processes with different approaches or, you know, all these different things. So you're going to be able to tactily, you're going to be able to take your mouse and drag this to that and match them up. And then you've got 3 left on this side and 3 left and match them up here, match up there. So it just changes the way we study, changes the way we operate on the exam. Going to be totally cool. We're going to integrate it into our simulator. We're already working on it now. And so it's going to be a different way. And if you think about it, that's really cool because it's just going to test our understanding in a different way. We're going to have you prepared. Now, the third one is what they call hotspots. This is the unofficial name for it, right? And what they're going to do is they're going to be able to show you graphs, EVM graphs, other kind of like, Gantt charts or other things. And they're going to ask you questions and have you kind of pick the areas of focus to say, where is the cost increasing the most on here? Or where should you look if you want to determine this? Or what, specifically in this project plan should we focus on here? Like that's going to give you like a real world perspective. Kind of like if your boss came and said, how do I interpret this? Or how do you make sense of this? Or something like that. It leads all back to the case story. That's what we're doing all the time. We're asking those questions to say, look at this picture and what do you think? So I left there like grinning and like with tons of ideas because I thought, dude, we're preparing people this way now. And it's just kind of going directly into it. And it's beautiful that I get to support PMI in this way and just keep ramping up the prep because it's directly related to what the exam is actually going to be. And that's cool. Now, the last type is where like the smile went from like right here to right here. They're actually going to have animated scenes that you're going to put on headphones, and some of them are just going to be you're going to watch, but it's going to be animated scenes where you can watch a project scenario play out, and then it's going to ask you to interpret it, tell you what you would do next, those 7 most powerful words, what would the project manager do next? And it's going to ask you in different ways about scenarios. Now, does that sound like anything that we're doing right now? It is. That's what the John story is all about. That's what we have, animated videos. It's awesome, dude. And it is cool that PMI is doing this because this is real life stuff. I talked to the lady that's leading this whole charge. She's cool. She's super awesome. And she was saying, she was just playing out different scenarios. I'm not going to say them because I don't know if I'm legally allowed to say them. I don't want to get in any trouble. But she was saying like, she was playing them out and I was like, yeah, that's exactly what normal life is like. We're all project managers. Your boss is yelling at you. What are you going to do? How are you going to mitigate the situation? How are you going to deal with these stakeholders? All these things. So when we walk through, just to go through what the actual questions are going to be like, same old A through D, situational, that's going to stay. Then we're going to have those drag and drops, which are going to be cool, matching things in a sense, kind of tactile learning. I love that. It's just a different way. And think about as you're going through this long on exam, which they might change the length of, I'll talk about in a second. Everything's on the table, these people. They got a good thing going at PMI. So like, they might change that, all right? And so you got the tactile learning. Then they got the hot spots where you're looking at graphs or Gantt charts or other things where you're finding key points. And then the last thing is our bread and butter, baby, is where we get these animated scenes, which is exactly what John is all about. And you guys out there are going to be dead on prepared. So if you're out there and you're saying, I don't know if I can study and pass by, July 1st, perfect. Not a problem. Start getting into our classes now. Go with the John story. Go with all the changes that we're making and integrating with these. We're going to have you double ready by the time July comes so that you can succeed. That is why I am so excited, okay? And here's the thing. Before July 1st comes, there's going to be an introductory period, and we'll let everybody know when this happens, when they're going to open up the new PMBOK or the new PMI questions and the new exam to a certain select, public. They're going to have a certain amount of seats, and they're going to say, come on in and take the new exam. Now, the way they describe this to me is this kind of like a no risk scenario. Sure, you got to pay. It's going to be a reduced price. Cool. But you're going to be able to go in there and be the first ones to see it. And if you fail, okay, no big deal. It doesn't count against your score in a sense that you get 3 every year. So if you fail, no big deal. But if you pass, bingo, you got it. So it's a no risk scenario that I think that everybody out there that's listening should take advantage of. If you're around that time period, get into that trial. Tell me how it goes, because I am pumped to see the questions. I think it's going to be super, super cool or hear about the questions. So get into that. That's going to open up reduced cost, like I say, no fault, no risk in the sense that I talked about, because if you pass, you get it. If you don't, it doesn't count. You just go and take the new one after the break, after it changes over. They're going to use all that data. PMI is awesome about data, man. They're going to use all that data to really evaluate what questions are working, which ones aren't. They're going to tweak it. They're going to make it awesome, and they're going to grow, all right, from it. And then the last thing that I wanted to talk to you about, so at this point, you should feel fairly comfortable that the PMI changes are not going to be terrible. The PMP changes, I got you covered. I can't speak for everybody else out there, but I got you covered, because the way in which we organize our material with case stories, and we use a lot of different types of learning styles, we already move things around, and we challenge our students, and we engage them, and we do all these things. We already prepare you. So if you get in our camp, which I always recommend, you're going to be ready. And the other cool thing is, now that you don't have to be an Agile expert, but you do have to know about it. And we're going to teach you. And in all honesty, I am not an Agile expert by trade, but I've worked a lot of Agile projects. I've worked with a lot of Agile experts. And you know what? Over the next couple months, that's where I'm going. That's where I'm going. So go along with me, where I'm going to leverage a lot of we've been in talks with a lot of super experts out there. And I'm going to school. I'm apprenticing, if you will, underneath them, so that so we can raise our skills together. And then the last thing that we're going to talk about is PMI is going to launch these new specializations. And these are super, super, super double cool. All right. And so, yeah, you get the PMP or the PGMP or the ACP, PMI ACP, or this CAPM, or those things. But they're also going to have these micro specializations in what are some of the different ones? There's going to be risk management, agile and waterfall hybrid combination, product management, AI, I think is in there, BIM, all these different things. They're going to have smaller specializations that you're going to take advantage of. And the idea is this is going to be able for you to be able to take an a la carte approach to your career, which I think is awesome. So they're going to have, internal PMI people develop them and external people, and you're going to be able to pick what you want, which bases on your expertise and where you want to grow yourself. And you're going to be able to stack them up high to say, I am an expert. I got my PMP. I went and got my ACP. I got the thing related to risk management and agile and agile and waterfall hybrid. Sorry. And then product management. You'll be able to stack these up so that when you go to your boss and say, man, I'm investing in myself, you should invest in me as well and let me have more opportunities and responsibilities. That's going to allow you to do it. So PMI is looking out for you. And let's repay them by really diving in and getting our PMP and doing well. And so that's the big changes that we went through at PMI Global. I'm going to do another podcast that just kind of walks through some general musings about a lot of the things that I learned there and the perspective that I got. Tons of awesome people to reconnect with and meet new that I did. So to summarize here, the changes are big coming to the PMP exam, but we can manage it, right? 3 domains. You know what they are right now. People, process, business, environment. The big one is processes. That's where we are right now. People is what they're growing up. but realize that we are preparing ourselves right now, and I'm going to continue to push to prepare you with all of our focus about the John story is all about integration. The John story is all about learning about how to read environments, how to manage a project, how to make mistakes and get yourself out of them. So we are preparing you every single day for the people side, all right? And then, you got to realize that we're going to layer on top of that the predictive, hybrid, and agile. So, half and half, basically. Agile and hybrid's one half, predictive's the other half. Don't have to be an expert in the agile and hybrid, but we're going to get you there. So when we leave here, and you should be leaving here feeling pretty darn good, that if you want to take the exam after July 1st, I got you covered. We know what we're going to do, and we're going to continue to build out. You're going to see some new John chapters, which I sat down and started writing. All right. And so it's pretty cool. I want to tell you what they are. I want to tell you what John got himself into, but I can't. And if you haven't read the John story, go back. We're going to release a book soon called Case Query Breakthrough. That's going to walk through the John story in super, super double depth. But right now, keep diving down. We're at a point now coming toward the end of the year, guys. We're going to continue to pump these podcasts out, but we gotta realize we got some holidays coming for certain places in the world. Let's stay focused. Let's stay committed to what we're doing, because let's try to finish our PMP by the end of the year, right? Let's set an artificial deadline, you, me, and the fence post, and let's get there. And if you want to get there, come and see me, come to talk to me. All right, because we can do that. All right. So it's been long. I've been rambling. I'm just excited. It must be all those cheesesteaks I ate. So let's get this going. Let's get your PMP. The next episode's going to be awesome, and I'll see you then. Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in today. I know that when I was studying for the PMP, it was really, really hard to find one good source that would guide me from the beginning to the end and that would speak to me in a language that I understood. No mumbo jumbo, no jargon, just something that I could work with. That is why this podcast exists. Now, if we are making a difference in your life, if we're helping you, let's do something bigger, you and I. Let's share it. Let's find somebody else. Why don't you find somebody else that you could share this podcast with so we can extend our reach, you and I. We can help them, all right? And if you want to continue to learn, if you want to continue to go farther, come to pmmasterprep.com/free. We have awesome free resources that are going to take your study skills, boom, to the next level. So go check it out right now. Go to pmmasterprep.com/free. Get all the stuff that I'm dropping on you. New stuff all the time. So go check it out, and I'll see you there.